So we now have some major news that has just come out, and I need to show you this right here. Look at this. In red, Republicans win control of the U.S. House with narrow margin. That's the first thing I want to show you. And on top of that, and the reason you're here is because the new child tax credit payments that are being discussed. There's a chance we see the $3,600 child tax credit payments come out on a monthly basis. Yes, and I also want to talk about Republican demands. But let's look at this again. Lame duck Congress eyes $100 billion tax cut deal with break for business. However, GOP opposes big expansion of child tax credit but seeks deal. What does this mean? Well, let's talk about it. Here's what I can tell you. With only weeks left before Congress is done for the year, Republicans and Democrats are attempting to get a deal done. Because this, and honestly, this would be one of the biggest lame duck sessions on record. But why? It's because of this. It has to do with what Democrats are asking for. Democrats understand that this is it. Because of this one thing right here, what I just showed you. This, okay? Well, this. Republicans win control of the U.S. House with narrow margin. It's because of that Democrats understand they cannot wait until 2023 when the new Congress comes in, because they will not have the majority in the House, which means they're likely not to pass any legislation over the next 2 years. So, Democrats want to see a bill pass that will expand the child tax credit payments. They want to increase the yearly amount from $2,000 up to $3,600, and again, that's for children under the age of 6. They also want to ensure that this is a monthly payment. That's the key, all right? Now, the other thing is, as for Republicans, what they want to see, Republicans' one demand is to strike a deal on the roughly $100 billion tax cut package. Now, they want tax breaks for private equity, for manufacturers, and businesses. And a lot of that's research and development as well. Now, Democrats understand that they have to make a deal now, and if they don't, they will lose the ability to strike a deal over the next 2 years due to Republicans controlling the House. Again, this is just happening. Republicans know that their only hope to strike a deal is to give in to Democrats' demands. However, it's within reason. So what exactly are Democrats asking for? Well, their initial offer was a $3,600 child tax credit payment paid out on a monthly basis. Republicans said no. They just said no. Now, why would Republicans come out and say no? Well, the reason is because $3,600 for children under the age of 6, $3,000 for children between the ages of 6 and 17, this is going to cost too much money. But Republicans said no because their tax package would only be around $45 billion. So why would they give Democrats something that's going to be closer to $100 billion per year? And that's the reason why there's a sticking point. So here's what this means. Instead of getting a $3,600 child tax credit that's going to cost about $100 billion per year, we are going to have to see a reduction in the tax credit payments. Now, here's how we could see a reduction. And I want to be very clear on this, that this is still being discussed. We don't know for sure yet which direction anybody's leading. But here are some of the options. Number one, less parents receive this child tax credit payment. And how do you do that? You can reduce the amount of people that are eligible for it. So you can reduce the eligibility amount. Let's say maybe if you make over $100,000, you don't get anything, right? Or, this is something that Senator Mitt Romney proposed, is anybody that is going to be eligible has to make over $10,000 per year in order to get it. And if you make less than that, you would not qualify. So that's an option. Those are two options right there. The next one, and this is the most likely option, is to reduce the overall amount to less than $3,600. Well, and if we do simple math, if $3,600 payments are going to equal $100 billion per year, and Republicans are only asking for $45 billion. Well, we got to bring it down. We got to bring it down by about 55%, right? Well, here's the issue. That would be very little. If it's $3,600 and we bring it down by 55%, guess what? That's less than what, right? That's a little bit less. It's less than what they're getting now, the $2,000 monthly or the $2,000 yearly amount, right? But here's what you need to understand. We could see something. And again, these are just discussions, and these are initial discussions. There's no hard, bill written, no legislation yet. But according to multiple reports, what could be passed is something like a $3,000 child tax credit payment for children under the age of 6, and $2,400 for children between the ages of 6 and 17. This would be paid out monthly. All right. So is that $250 for children under the age of 6, and $200 per month for children from 6 to 17, right? That's pretty substantial, especially being that right now we get 0. But here's the other thing. This would still be more expensive than what Republicans are currently asking for. However, they can reduce it in one other way, and this is by having a limit on how many dependents somebody gets payments for. So instead of having an unlimited amount, so if somebody has 7 kids and they're all between the ages of 6 and 17, they would get $1,400 if they had 7 kids. But let's say we put a limit on 3 or 4 kids. Well, that makes it less expensive in the eyes of Republicans, which would mean that it would likely match up to what Republicans are asking for with their demand of these tax breaks. But I want to go over what the breaks are, the big issue right here. Look at this. It says the 4 big dollar tax issues at the center of the debate are the expansion of the child tax credit after Democratic advances were unable to include it in the Inflation Reduction Act. And again, I talked about this so many times that it's possible. It looked like it was coming, and then nope, it got axed. The next one, reviving a version of the deduction for R&D costs or research and development costs that allows companies to reduce tax liability in the same year they incur the spending. This would benefit manufacturers, drug makers, and tech companies. They also want to reinstating a more generous deduction for interest expense write-offs that expired at the end of 2021. This would benefit highly leveraged companies, including private equity and venture capital firms. And this is a big one, renewing a tax break known as bonus depreciation that allows businesses to write off their equipment purchases in a single year, benefiting companies with large capital expenditures. That is what is being asked, all right? Now, here's what you need to understand. Right now, we only have a handful of weeks. We know Democrats are taking off next week, or not Democrats, lawmakers are taking off next week, it's all lawmakers. They take off the week of Thanksgiving. We know that. But here's the big thing. They're also only going to be back, I think, for like 2 weeks. Then come the middle of December, they're gone. They're gone for the rest of the year, all right? So if we're going to see this done, we got like 2.5 weeks. We got like 3 weeks left. Barely any time. But there's a possibility we see this. And again, we may see a $3,600 child tax credit payment. But the most likely outcome is it would be $3,000 according to recent reports. So again, those are the demands from both parties. We will see what happens with that. As always, as I know more, I promise, I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update. Again, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.